You've seen it in the movies, and maybe you've dreamed about finding a hidden treasure in the walls of your home.
Well, it happened to a Canandaigua man who stumbled upon his own historical find while renovating his office space. Samantha LaRocca tells us what he discovered.
Every person wants to find treasure. You know, we all hope to find a pirate's gold or something buried in in an attic, and we did. It actually happened in my lifetime.
Oh, yes, it did. David bought a building in Geneva in December to expand his business. The building needed some work, and on the third floor, there was an apartment that hadn't been used in about 30 years.
The drop ceiling in the apartment didn't look too good. So we were up there, a couple weeks after we closed on the building, a friend of mine and I was showing him the space, and he owns a bunch of properties, so I wanted to get his opinion on some things.
They pulled on the one section of the drop ceiling to see what the conditions were,
But we said to ourselves, is there something up there? Like maybe a crawl space or, an attic?
They got to poking around and found an access panel that seemed to be untouched in over 100 years.
So we got very excited, and because when we pushed it up, we had to climb on some chairs, but we could see it was kind of vaulted, and we said to ourselves, there's a lot of space up there.
And that was just the first glance.
I got very excited, and I poked my head back down, and I said, oh my God, I think we just found the Goonies treasure.
David then got on a ladder to find even more treasure. 20 feet by 40 is the size of the space.
It was such an interesting mix of things that make sense to be stored, like portraits and photographic equipment and backdrops, props for photographs.
Boxes from the Eastman Company and Kramer Photography, glass plates used for photography. But the best find, a famed portrait of Susan B. Anthony.
The Susan B. portrait is kind of the major piece. It's intact. The frame is gorgeous. The picture is kind of the famous iconic photo of her, not only because we all kind of recognize it, but that's the one the suffragist movement voted to be her official portrait.
David found out that this was the property of James Hale, who was a prominent photographer in the area. He moved into this building around 1900. He
had won some national awards, was very active in the photographic community. He came in contact with Susan B. Anthony and the suffragist movement, because he's living in Geneva at the time. This is the thick of the women's right to vote movement.
His theory was that this was Hale's most prominent customer, and this was his copy he displayed in his studio. They also have the glass plate negative of this photo.
Because the difference between the photo is a representation of her that day. The glass plate negative was in the room with them when the picture was taken.
They are currently trying to clean and catalog it all. They want to put the bulk of the material online for others to look at and identify some of the people in the photos. Samantha LaRocca, News 10 NBC.
Wow, that is amazing.